a little bit more about what SRECTrade does and a little bit more explanation about what it's like to participate in a clean fuel program. So what are the kinds of activities you might have to do in order to achieve, see those revenues? So one of the first things we'll do is a fleet evaluation, right? So what kinds of equipment do you have? How much utilization for that equipment are you expecting, or do you already have? And we'll put together an assessment for you. But then we'll get to work. And the key things you have to do under these programs is register your equipment. So each charging station has to be registered under the program as a unique piece of equipment. And then on an annual basis, report the amount of fuel consumed at each piece of equipment. So you'll need to be able to pull kilowatt hours for each piece of charging data, or piece of charging equipment. Now, depending on this type of software you have on that fueling station, that might be very, very simple, and we can even automate how that data is pulled, or it might be a little bit more difficult. So networked chargers or smart chargers are definitely a lot easier here, and in fact, sometimes required in order to pull the data that you need to generate credits. When working with SRECTrade, we'll walk you through exactly what kinds of software and reporting requirements will work. We'll pull that data on your behalf or receive it from you, and then upload it into the program registry where we've registered your equipment. We'll create credits. They're issued on an annual basis, and then sell those credits on your behalf. And what SRECTrade does is we act as an aggregator. So we'll generate lots and lots of credits across many, many different customers who have charging stations. And any one charging station or any one fleet may not be generating that many credits on its own, but by aggregating a lot of credits and selling those in large blocks to the credit buyers, we make the transactions a lot easier. As you can imagine, if you're an oil and gas company, you don't want to make lots and lots of little transactions for credits. You want to buy larger blocks of credit. So we make it a lot easier. So essentially what we'll do is from start to finish, all the work required to generate and monetize these credits. In addition, we're involved in these programs. We stay very, very close to the programs. They have, every few years, they will review their policies and potentially adopt new ones. And so there's a lot of policy and market tracking that gets involved in these programs. And we'll also do that on your behalf, putting out information that's relevant to you that might affect your decision-making so you can continue to plan your fleet electrification program. But with SRECTrade, we take all the responsibility of actually participating in this program, manage all of that on your behalf, and allow you to continue to operate your fleet, manage and plan your transition, and essentially just requiring you to provide information about your assets and your consumption on a very limited basis throughout the year. And then most importantly, I kind of forgot this most important piece, we pay you, right? So we'll generate the credits, sell the credits, and then pay you the revenue that we receive. And we do all of this with no out-of-pocket costs. So we take a small percentage of the revenue that we generate on your behalf and then give you the rest. So you never get an invoice or a bill. We simply just send you a check once those credits have been sold. Now, one of the most important things to consider for clean fuel programs and working with a third party like SRECTrade is making sure that there's some transparency into how we're serving you. So one of the ways that SRECTrade has managed this is to create an online platform that gives you visibility into all of the work that we're doing on your behalf, including the assets we've registered for you, the credits that we've generated for each asset, how much we sold those credits for, and the amount of fees we took from the revenue. So you get to see all of those pieces of information. You can download it at any time. You can use that in your own reporting, and we make it really easy to access that information. So both the BC LCFS and Canada federal program are open, but you can only generate credits once you're registered and during the current reporting period. These programs have annual reporting periods. So if you miss the deadline, you will miss out on an entire year's worth of credit generation and revenue. So we recommend getting started right away if you have existing assets that you think are eligible or that you know are eligible. And if you don't know whether they're eligible, that's something we can help evaluate for you. At least with SRECTrade, we make it very, very easy to get started. There's really just a few easy steps. And we recommend that you reach out to us at cleanfuels@srectrade.com to understand a little bit more about how we can serve you. In my experience in these programs, the value accrues over time. So even if you have just a few assets, right, just a couple EV chargers, we highly recommend you have a plan for how you're going to participate in these programs. Even if you're right now doing a broad fleet electrification plan, right, maybe a 5 or 10-year study, clean fuel programs should be part of that study. How you're going to participate, benefit, and utilize the revenue from that program is an important piece, just like all the other incentives that you're evaluating. Of course, this one's a little bit unique because you have to participate in the market, but you really need to consider how the clean fuel programs are going to work for your electrification program. And the good news for BC is that you can actually participate in both the BC program and the federal program at the same time. So the same amount of charging can be reported under both programs and generate credits and generate revenue. So that's a really unique opportunity for the folks that have charging in BC. If you have charging assets in other provinces too, those will generate credits under the federal program, obviously, but not the BC program.